Listen. Practice. Speak. Practice makes you perfect.
Welcome to our Business English Learning Dialogue on essential skills for future business professionals. Today, we're focusing on how generative AI is transforming the workplace. Have you noticed how these AI tools are becoming a critical skill for almost every professional?
Absolutely. The modern workplace is evolving so fast that understanding generative AI is no longer optional. It's becoming a core competency, just like communication or problem solving.
True. One of the biggest advantages is how AI helps professionals work smarter. Tasks like research, summarizing reports, drafting emails, or analyzing trends can now be done in minutes.
Exactly. And that means professionals need to master AI collaboration skills, not just knowing what AI can do, but understanding how to direct it. Prompting, reviewing outputs, and applying critical thinking are essential skills now.
Critical thinking is key. Without it, there's a risk of accepting AI-generated information without verifying accuracy. Professionals must learn to evaluate, cross-check, and refine AI results.
Another important skill is data literacy. Even if someone isn't in a technical role, they need to understand how data works, because AI relies heavily on good, clean data.
Absolutely. And understanding AI ethics is becoming crucial too. Issues like bias, transparency, and responsible usage are now part of business decision-making.
You're right. Organizations want employees who can use AI responsibly while keeping privacy, compliance, and fairness in mind.
One more future skill is adaptability. Since AI tools are evolving rapidly, professionals must be comfortable learning new technologies on the go.
I agree. The most successful professionals will be those who embrace change instead of resisting it.
Have you noticed how AI is also reshaping teamwork? Collaboration now means working not only with colleagues, but also with AI systems.
Exactly. And tools like AI-powered project planners, brainstorming assistants, and real-time analytics dashboards are enhancing team performance.
And communication skills remain essential, especially when professionals need to present AI-generated insights clearly and confidently in meetings.
Presentation skills, storytelling skills, and persuasive speaking are becoming even more important. AI can provide the data, but humans must communicate it effectively.
Do you think all professionals are ready for this shift?
Not yet. That's why upskilling is so crucial. Training programs, workshops, and hands-on practice with AI tools will prepare teams for the future.
I think organizations should consider launching a company-wide program to help employees develop these essential AI skills.
That would be a great idea. We could even bring in experts to demonstrate real use cases and help employees understand how generative AI supports productivity.
Let's draft a proposal for leadership. With the right training, our teams will be well-equipped for the future of business.
Agreed. Let's make sure our organization leads the way in embracing AI confidently and responsibly.
Have you noticed how generative AI is becoming a core skill for future business professionals?
Absolutely. Understanding how to use AI tools effectively is now just as important as traditional workplace skills.
AI accelerates research, reporting, content creation, and data analysis. Professionals need to learn how to collaborate with AI.
And that means being good at prompting, reviewing outputs, and applying critical thinking.
Critical thinking helps avoid mistakes and ensures AI-generated information is accurate and reliable.
Data literacy is another essential skill. AI depends on good data, so professionals need to understand how data is collected, used, and interpreted.
Ethical awareness is also important. Professionals must consider bias, transparency, and privacy when using AI tools.
Adaptability is becoming a top priority too. AI tools evolve quickly, so employees must be open to continuous learning.
Collaboration now includes working with AI-powered systems to improve performance and productivity.
And communication skills are more important than ever. Professionals must explain AI-driven insights clearly and persuasively.
Upskilling programs can help employees develop these future-ready capabilities.
Agreed. With proper training, organizations can unlock the full potential of generative AI.
Let's shift to production capacity. Where are we struggling the most?
Mainly in Plant 2. The machinery is outdated and downtime has increased. We're spending more on repairs than replacements would cost in the long run. Also, workforce fatigue is becoming a problem. Output has dropped not because people are lazy, but because they're stretched. Some employees have already expressed concerns about workload and unclear direction.
Then we need to address both technology and morale. For technology, we can propose equipment upgrades. For morale, maybe training, clearer communication, and better workload distribution.
Agreed. And maybe include appreciation initiatives. Even simple recognition can go a long way.
True. People want to feel seen, not just used. Deep dive financial structure. Let's talk money. If we want plant upgrades, supply chain upgrades, or additional staff, we need to justify the budget. Have you estimated the financial implications?
Roughly, yes. The equipment upgrade for Plant 2 might cost around $2.7 million. But the payoff is strong. Higher efficiency, lower maintenance costs, and fewer delays.
What's the payback period?
Estimated 18 to 20 months.
That's acceptable, especially with the growth targets we have. Let's imagine the company 1 year from now. What needs to be true for us to hit the board's growth targets without collapsing internally?
A few things. Supply chain reliability must improve by at least 30%. Production capacity must increase by 15 to 20%. Morale must rise. Processes must become more automated. Sales and marketing must align more closely with actual operational capabilities. Internal communication must become seamless.
Exactly. And that means our strategy should focus on operational excellence, customer satisfaction, and scalable growth.
I agree. If we strengthen the internal foundation, growth becomes a natural byproduct.
HR plus talent development section. Let's talk about people. We've been hearing concerns that mid-level managers feel overwhelmed.
Yes, they're caught between pressure from senior leadership and expectations from the workforce. They need support, training, clearer KPIs, and communication tools.
Are we at risk of losing key people?
Potentially, 2 team leads have hinted they're considering other opportunities. Their main issues are workload and lack of clarity about the company's direction.
Then we need to intervene before it becomes a resignation. Conversation goes deep into talent mapping, succession planning, conflict resolution, leadership training, employee engagement, performance review systems, and wellness programs. Crisis management scenario. By the way, did you hear about the customer complaint escalation last week?
Yes, they experienced a major delay due to missing documents. That shouldn't have happened. One department assumed another department handled the paperwork.
Classic coordination failure.
Exactly. And the customer was furious. We managed to calm them down after apologizing, but we can't let such incidents repeat.
What about negotiations with the logistics provider? Are we close to securing better terms?
We're getting there. They proposed a revised contract with a 4% rate increase, but I think we can negotiate it down to 2% if we offer a longer-term partnership.
Then go for it. Emphasize stability and volume commitment. This has been one of the most productive discussions we've had in months. We've touched on every critical area. Now, let's outline our next steps clearly.
Agreed. Let me summarize what we've covered and confirm the next actions.
Please go ahead.
First, we will diversify suppliers and initiate onboarding for a secondary vendor. Second, we will create a weekly forecasting update process with the sales team. Third, we will establish a real-time communication channel for supply chain coordination. Fourth, we will prepare a proposal for upgrading equipment at Plant 2. Fifth, we will introduce initiatives to boost team morale and support middle-level managers. Sixth, we will improve crisis management protocols and document flow. Seventh, we will strengthen our negotiation strategy.
Before we get into the numbers, let me ask you something. Over the past month, have you felt that the organization is becoming harder to steer? I mean, in terms of alignment, priorities, and execution. Because from where I'm sitting, things feel like they're drifting slightly out of sync.
You're not imagining it. I've sensed the same thing. People are busy, yes, but not always aligned. Workloads are high, communication is inconsistent, and decision-making seems slower than usual. It's not a crisis yet, but it's trending in a concerning direction.
Exactly. And if we don't address it now, it could become a major problem. That's why I want this conversation to be as detailed and candid as possible. We need clarity, structure, and direction. So let me start by asking, what's your honest assessment of the last quarter?
Honestly, mixed. We delivered results, but not efficiently. We hit targets, but not confidently. We responded to issues, but didn't anticipate them. And I think everyone feels the strain. Performance was acceptable, but the process was messy.
I completely agree. And that tells me the foundation is weakening. Not collapsing, but weakening. And before we grow or expand or introduce anything new, we need to reinforce that foundation.
Absolutely. So, where do you want to begin? There are so many layers: supply chain, production alignment, communication gaps, leadership bandwidth.
Let's start with the core, operations. Because if the engine doesn't run smoothly, nothing else works.
Understood. So, the biggest operational challenge right now is predictability. We can produce, but inconsistently. We can deliver, but with fluctuating timelines. And the reason is simple. The planning inputs are unstable. Sales forecasts change too often and without enough justification.
That's a recurring issue. Sales is optimistic by nature, which is good for morale, but bad for planning. So what's your suggestion? How do we anchor the forecasting process so you can plan with confidence?
3 things. First, we need data-driven forecasting, not optimism-driven forecasting. Second, we need a rolling weekly adjustment window rather than abrupt monthly changes. Third, we need accountability. If forecasts deviate wildly from reality, someone must explain why.
I like all 3. The third one especially. People need to justify their numbers, not just submit them. Accountability creates discipline.
Exactly. And discipline is the difference between consistency and chaos.
All right, let's talk about capacity. Last quarter, you mentioned that Plant 2 is operating at only about 76% effective capacity. Why? What's dragging it down?
Maintenance, or rather, insufficient maintenance. The machines are aging. Repairs are reactive, not preventative. So we face unexpected downtime, and when machines stop unexpectedly, we lose not just time, but also workforce rhythm. People get frustrated, morale dips, and output drops.
What's the real solution? Not a band-aid, an actual fix.
Realistically, a capital investment into new machinery, or at least major upgrades. Anything else is temporary. We've stretched the existing equipment as far as it can go.
How much would an upgrade cost?
Depending on the configuration, somewhere between 2.5 to 3 million.
That's significant. But if it fixes a bottleneck that's costing us far more in hidden losses, then it's worth considering.
Exactly. The cost of inefficiency is greater than the cost of improvement.
Well said. Now let's move on to workload and morale. We've seen early signs of burnout. People aren't complaining loudly, but subtle comments and behavior tell a story. Have you noticed the same?
Yes. Many team members feel they're constantly firefighting, and firefighting creates fatigue. They want clarity, stability, and direction.
Then we need to give them that. We can't keep pushing without supporting them.
Agreed. We need structural clarity. What's urgent, what's important, what's optional, and what can wait. Right now, everything feels urgent to them because priorities change too often.
We need a priority architecture.
Exactly.
Let's talk about communication breakdowns. Where are the biggest gaps?
3 areas. First, interdepartmental communication is inconsistent, especially between sales and operations. Second, mid-level managers often receive updates but not context. Third, information flows upward too slowly and downward without clarity.
So basically, we need to redesign how communication happens, not just what is communicated.
Yes, we need real-time channels, not email threads. We need clear action owners, not vague instructions. And we need coordination meetings with structured agendas, not informal chats.
Makes sense. Now let's shift to execution discipline. What slows execution the most?
Unclear responsibilities. Sometimes 2 departments think the other one is handling something, and sometimes nobody's handling it. That's when delays happen.
Classic accountability gap.
Exactly.
Then we need a clear ownership matrix. Every task must have one owner, not 2, not 0.
Agreed.
Let's pivot to financial performance. What's your take on the cost structure right now?
Bloated. Not disastrously, but enough to cut into profitability. We're spending too much on emergency logistics and repairs. Unplanned costs always exceed planned costs.
Which tells us we need better anticipation, not more budget.
Exactly. Predictability is cheaper than improvising.
Well said. Now, what about inventory balance? Are we holding too much or too little?
A mix. Some SKUs are overstocked, others are understocked. The imbalance comes from inconsistent demand signals and slow adjustment cycles.
So we need dynamic inventory tuning.
Yes. And cross-team alignment.
Let's talk about the leadership team. Do you feel they're aligned?
Aligned in intent, misaligned in execution. Everyone wants improvement, but not everyone understands the same priorities. Some focus on short-term wins. Others focus on long-term stability.
That's dangerous. Priorities must be unified.
Yes. Otherwise, we're rumming in different directions.
What's causing the misalignment?
Lack of shared visibility. Some leaders see only their department, not the whole system.
So they optimize locally instead of systemically.
Exactly.
Now about the escalation that happened last week, the one with the delayed shipment. What went wrong?
A sequence of avoidable mistakes. Procurement assumed logistics had coordinated documentation. Logistics assumed production sent the batch details. Production assumed sales requested the shipping window. So 3 assumptions collided, and nobody owned the final check.
And the customer paid the price.
Yes, and they weren't happy.
Understandably. So we need a verification step, a final checkpoint before orders leave the facility.
Exactly. A single point of verification. No assumptions.
Let's move toward future direction. What do you see as the biggest risk in the next 6 months?
If we don't fix internal alignment, the organization will feel increasingly reactive. That leads to burnout, turnover, and declining quality. The risk isn't external, it's internal.
Agreed. And the biggest opportunity?
If we strengthen our structure and processes now, we can scale efficiently later. That's our competitive advantage.
Absolutely. Discipline first, growth second. We've covered everything from operations to morale to finance to alignment. Let's conclude with next steps. What do you propose?
I propose 8 actions. Weekly rolling forecast updates, clear ownership matrix for all cross-functional tasks, real-time communication channel for operational issues, preventative maintenance program and CapEx proposal, rebalanced workload and morale initiatives, leadership alignment sessions with transparent priorities, verification checkpoint for outgoing shipments, and monthly performance review cycle focused on process, not just results.
That's comprehensive and exactly what we need.
I'll prepare the documentation, communicate with team leads, and initiate the first steps.
Perfect. I feel much clearer after this conversation.
Same here. When we talk honestly and practically, solutions emerge naturally.
Then let's move forward. Stronger, clearer, and aligned.
Agreed. Let's get to work.
Thank you for joining this meeting on short notice. We have several critical agenda points today. But more importantly, we need clarity on the direction the corporation is taking over the next 5 to 7 years. I believe we've reached a point where incremental adjustments are no longer sufficient. We need a strategic recalibration.
I agree. The environment around us is changing faster than our internal processes can adapt. Competition is becoming more sophisticated. Regulations are evolving, consumer expectations are rising, and emerging markets are behaving unpredictably. If we don't reposition ourselves decisively, we risk falling behind, even with our scale advantage.
Exactly. Scale alone isn't the safety net it was even 5 years ago. What used to be our greatest competitive advantage, distribution reach, manufacturing footprint, and global brand presence, is now being challenged by players who are far more agile. They move rapidly, test aggressively, and pivot immediately. Our cycles, by comparison, still feel sluggish.
The irony is that we've invested heavily in technology, process improvement, and global alignment initiatives, yet the agility gap persists. I think part of the issue is structural. We're operating with legacy layers that were designed for stability, not speed. Stability served us well for decades, but today the market demands something different.
Which brings us to the core question: what strategic identity should we prioritize? Are we aiming to be an innovation leader, a customer experience benchmark, a cost efficiency powerhouse, or a diversified global portfolio that balances stability with selective innovation?
My view is that we need a hybrid approach. Innovation leadership in our primary segments, operational excellence in the legacy segments, and customer-centric transformation across every market. But executing a hybrid model requires an underlying operating philosophy we currently lack. We need clarity that cascades down each market, each division, each function.
Agreed. And our regional teams have been asking for this. They keep telling us that corporate strategy feels too conceptual. They want concrete frameworks, not just directional aspirations. They need actionable pathways.
Then perhaps we should begin by redefining our core strategic pillars for the next decade. We can refine them later, but we need a baseline to align on. Let's start with the key question. What is the overarching ambition for the corporation?
I would articulate it like this: to become the world's most adaptive, customer-driven multinational corporation, powered by scalable innovation and operational excellence. It captures agility, customer centricity, and the balance between innovation and efficiency.
That phrasing is strong. It reflects ambition, but also acknowledges the foundational strengths we already possess. But ambition alone is insufficient. We must break it down into operationalizable pillars. I propose 4 strategic pillars: customer-driven growth, operational excellence and scalability, innovation leadership and digital reinvention, and organizational agility and talent transformation.
Those pillars seem comprehensive. Let's unpack each one, starting with customer-driven growth. What does that mean for a multinational operating in over 45 countries with varied maturity levels?
It means shifting from a product-centric mindset to a solution-centric mindset. Historically, we have exported global products into local markets. Going forward, we need regionalized innovation, segment-specific value propositions, and customer journey optimization tailored to local behaviors.
So essentially, empowerment of regional teams with structured guardrails from corporate, because full autonomy risks fragmentation, while centralization limits relevance.
Exactly. What we need is guided autonomy. The framework sets the direction, but markets choose the execution pathway based on customer insights and ecosystem dynamics.
That brings us to the challenge of data. Our customer analytics are fragmented, inconsistent, and often delayed. If we want to be customer-driven, we need an integrated data platform that unifies purchase behavior, channel preference, journey moments, loyalty triggers, and satisfaction metrics.
Yes, but integration alone won't solve the problem. We need analytical capability at the local level. Many of our regional teams simply don't have the talent or tools to extract actionable insights. Without capability building, the data will just sit there.
Capability building has to be a strategic mandate, not an optional initiative, which ties directly into your 4th pillar, organizational agility and talent transformation. Our leadership pipeline, for example, still favors experience over adaptability. That model is outdated.
Precisely. Experience is valuable, but adaptability is mission critical. The leaders of the future are those who can operate in ambiguity, manage diverse stakeholder groups, and make fast decisions without perfect information. Our current development programs are too linear and slow.
And this raises another concern I want us to address honestly. Are we structured in a way that allows talent to excel, or do our hierarchical layers suppress initiative?
If we're being candid, yes, our structure is still too hierarchical. Decision-making layers slow us down. Even simple approvals sometimes move through 3 or 4 levels unnecessarily. It creates frustration and reduces accountability because decisions become distributed and diluted.
Then one of our first operational decisions should be simplification, a reduction in bureaucratic layers, clearer decision rights, and more empowered cross-functional units.
I support that direction, but we'll need a change management roadmap. Structural changes without behavioral alignment will create confusion. People need clarity on what empowerment means and what responsibilities accompany it.
True. Empowerment isn't about relinquishing control. It's about assigning ownership, with accountability. That distinction must be communicated.
Let's move to the second pillar, operational excellence and scalability. Our operational footprint spans manufacturing, logistics, procurement, quality, and supply chain. Yet our global integration is inconsistent. Some regions operate with world-class efficiency, others lag significantly.
That inconsistency is costing us millions annually. We need a unified operational excellence model, a standardized playbook that outlines best practices for manufacturing, digital supply chain, automation, predictive analytics, and ESG compliance.
Right now, our operations function behaves more like a collection of regional clusters rather than a global ecosystem. We need to build a global center of excellence that drives continuous improvement across all markets.
And we need tighter alignment between supply planning and demand forecasting. Demand forecasting accuracy is one of our ongoing weaknesses. It results in either excess inventory or stockouts in key markets. Both are costly.
Demand forecasting will only improve when the commercial teams and operations function communicate more transparently. Right now, insights flow in one direction. Commercial pushes numbers upward, but operations rarely pushes back with scenario evaluations or risk assessments.
So we need integrated forecasting teams, a blend of commercial, finance, and supply chain experts working together with shared KPIs.
Yes, shared KPIs are essential. Currently, each function optimizes for its own success metrics, which sometimes conflict with the corporation's overall objectives. We need a synchronized KPI architecture.
Let's move on to the third pillar, innovation leadership and digital reinvention. We've invested heavily in digital, yet our innovation speed still trails smaller competitors. Why?
Because our digital investments were driven by technology, not by customer journeys or strategic objectives. We have tools, but we don't have integrated digital ecosystems.
Exactly. We must shift from technology adoption to capability transformation. Innovation should be driven by unmet
Future skills certification is essential, but it must be meaningful. Employees should see direct correlation between acquiring new skills and opportunities for career progression or project ownership.
Exactly. And it should be integrated into our succession planning. We can't just develop talent for the sake of development. We need a clear path from capability to leadership roles.
That also means rethinking our global talent mobility. High-potential employees should rotate across regions to gain exposure to different market dynamics, cultures, and operational models.
Yes, rotation builds both perspective and network, but we also need to avoid over-rotation. The goal is depth in regional understanding while maintaining global exposure.
Agreed. We should map career journeys with a mix of lateral and vertical moves, ensuring each rotation strengthens both functional and strategic capabilities.
On a related note, we need to discuss succession planning in executive roles. Our current approach is reactive. We identify successors late and sometimes promote based on tenure rather than capability.
That's a major risk. Executive succession should be a living plan, updated quarterly, aligned with the strategic pillars, and tested against multiple scenarios.
Scenario testing is key. We need simulations that anticipate business disruptions, economic shocks, regulatory changes, competitive pressures, and evaluate how potential leaders respond.
And these simulations should not be confined to board-level exercises. They should cascade down to functional and regional leaders. We want a culture where scenario thinking is standard practice.
Moving to the topic of digital reinvention, how do you see AI and advanced analytics transforming our decision-making processes?
AI has two main roles. First, it enhances operational efficiency by predicting trends, optimizing supply chains, and automating repetitive tasks. Second, it empowers decision-making with predictive insights, but we must avoid treating AI as infallible.
Agreed. AI is an augmentation tool, not a replacement for judgment. Leaders still need to contextualize insights, apply experience, and evaluate risk.
That's why governance is crucial. We should establish a decision framework where AI insights are mandatory inputs but not sole determinants.
And this ties into transparency. Stakeholders must understand how AI conclusions are derived. Explainable AI is no longer optional, it's a trust requirement.
Exactly. Explainable AI ensures that business decisions can be audited and defended both internally and externally, especially in regulated markets.
Let's talk about market expansion. We've historically relied on organic growth, but should we consider more aggressive M&A activity in strategic segments?
Possibly, but with discipline. Acquisitions should reinforce our core strategic pillars, not distract from them. Every potential acquisition needs a clear rationale: growth acceleration, capability acquisition, or market entry.
And we must evaluate integration risk up front. Poorly integrated acquisitions have historically eroded value rather than created it.
Integration planning must begin before the deal closes. Leadership alignment, systems compatibility, cultural assessment, and communication strategy all need to be in place early.
On the topic of culture, I want to address the innovation mindset. Many regions still prioritize operational adherence over creative problem solving. How do we shift this mindset without undermining accountability?
By embedding innovation metrics alongside operational KPIs. For instance, measure not only efficiency but also idea generation, implementation speed, and cross-functional collaboration.
And incentivize calculated risk-taking. Employees should feel safe to experiment. Mistakes should be viewed as learning opportunities, not failures.
Leadership behavior is critical here. If leaders visibly reward experimentation and curiosity, the culture shift will follow more naturally.
Another aspect is external partnerships. We've been too cautious in collaborating with startups, technology vendors, and research institutions. Strategic alliances could accelerate innovation.
Absolutely. Co-creation ecosystems allow us to test concepts rapidly, leverage external expertise, and share risk. But we need structured processes to evaluate, onboard, and manage partners effectively.
Which leads us to governance. We can't have innovation run ad hoc. A formal Innovation Governance Council could oversee pipeline prioritization, budget allocation, and outcome tracking.
Agreed. It should include representation from strategy, operations, finance, and regional leaders. The council ensures alignment, avoids duplication, and validates business impact.
Now, regarding operational scalability, I've noticed supply chain resilience is still inconsistent across regions. How can we create a unified approach?
We need a global operations blueprint that standardizes processes while allowing regional adaptation. Automation, predictive inventory, and integrated logistics platforms are central to this.
And we must build contingency planning. Each region should maintain a tiered risk map with mitigation protocols for disruptions, from regulatory shifts to natural disasters.
Technology can support this. Advanced analytics can simulate disruptions and optimize responses, but humans must interpret and execute plans. Pure automation is insufficient.
Let's discuss environmental, social, and governance objectives. Investors are scrutinizing ESG performance more than ever. How do we integrate ESG into our operational DNA?
ESG needs to be operationalized, not just reported. For instance, sustainable sourcing, carbon-neutral manufacturing, diversity in leadership, and ethical supply chain practices should be measurable KPIs.
And tied to performance incentives. If leaders' bonuses depend partially on ESG outcomes, the organization takes it seriously.
Indeed, ESG integration also strengthens our brand perception in global markets and mitigates regulatory and reputational risk.
Switching to digital transformation. We've implemented multiple systems across regions, ERP, CRM, analytics, but adoption varies. How do we standardize usage without imposing rigidity?
We should focus on capability enablement, not tool enforcement. Training, coaching, and peer-led knowledge sharing can drive adoption more effectively than mandates alone.
And we need executive sponsorship in each region to reinforce accountability. Tools alone don't change behavior. Leadership does.
Agreed. Let's move to financial strategy. Our revenue mix across segments shows stagnation in certain regions. How do we prioritize investment?
Resource allocation should reflect both market potential and strategic importance. High-growth segments deserve capital infusion for expansion and innovation. Low-growth segments require cost discipline and efficiency programs.
But we must also be careful not to starve regions with latent potential. Early-stage investments in emerging markets may not show immediate ROI, but can yield long-term competitive advantage.
Correct. A balanced portfolio approach is necessary. Short-term profitability for mature markets, long-term growth for emerging markets.
And financial performance must be linked to operational KPIs. For example, supply chain efficiency, customer acquisition costs, and innovation pipeline velocity should influence budget allocation.
Talent costs are also a factor. Hiring globally competitive skill sets, particularly in digital and analytics, is expensive. We need a holistic cost to impact model.
Speaking of talent, I've noticed retention risks in high-potential cohorts. Our current engagement programs don't sufficiently differentiate top performers.
Then we need targeted retention strategies, career acceleration, skill development, global exposure, and meaningful project ownership.
And competitive rewards, but not purely monetary. Recognition, autonomy, and purpose-driven projects can be more motivating for high performers.
Moving to risk management, geopolitical shifts and supply chain vulnerabilities are increasingly material. How do we future-proof?
Risk mapping must be continuous and predictive. Advanced scenario planning, geopolitical intelligence, and supply chain diversification are key levers. Cybersecurity is also critical. Digital integration increases exposure. Are we confident our systems are resilient enough? We've strengthened infrastructure, but security is dynamic. Regular penetration testing, AI-driven threat detection, and employee awareness programs must remain ongoing priorities.
Returning to market strategy, I'd like to explore portfolio rationalization. Are there non-core assets we should divest to fund strategic growth?
Certainly, non-core businesses that deliver low returns or no longer align with strategic pillars should be reviewed. Divestment can free capital and management attention for higher impact areas.
How do we approach integration across regions? Some markets adopt best practices quickly, others lag.
Integration requires structured knowledge transfer, mentoring, and process standardization. We should document lessons learned in high-performing regions and replicate them globally.
On innovation, I want us to be clear on balancing incremental versus disruptive projects. Too much focus on the former leads to stagnation. Too much on the latter risks
Picking up from culture, we need to ensure our values are embedded in daily operations, not just statements on the intranet. How do we operationalize this?
Metrics are essential. We can measure collaboration through cross-functional projects, innovation through idea submission rates and execution, and accountability through milestone adherence.
And leadership visibility reinforces these metrics. When senior leaders actively model the behaviors, it cascades throughout the organization.
On the topic of transformation, digital adoption remains uneven. We should develop a standardized adoption roadmap across regions, incorporating training, mentoring, and executive sponsorship.
Agreed. Tools alone aren't sufficient. Change management programs must accompany system rollouts to embed behaviors.
Let's examine operational efficiency.
Supply chain digitization is progressing, but predictive analytics adoption lags. How do we accelerate this?
Prioritize high-impact nodes first, warehouses, transportation hubs, and inventory-heavy regions. Use predictive models to optimize stock levels, route planning, and demand forecasting.
And then scale to secondary regions. We should ensure the system is flexible to accommodate local constraints while maintaining global standards.
Speaking of scaling, talent development must mirror operational expansion. If we implement advanced analytics in one region, local teams must have the skills to leverage insights.
Exactly. That ties into our learning and development strategy. Training modules should be role-specific and include simulations for real-world application.
We also need to consider retention of newly trained employees. High-skilled talent is mobile. Engagement, career pathways, and project ownership are critical.
Switching to innovation. We discussed portfolio balance. Incremental innovation is easy to track, but how do we measure exploratory or disruptive initiatives?
Use milestone-based evaluation. Track hypothesis validation, prototype completion, market testing, and early adoption metrics. ROI is longer term, but structured evaluation prevents runaway costs.
And for disruptive projects, cross-functional mentorship is essential. Teams often lack diverse perspectives, which can limit creativity or risk assessment.
Partnerships can help too. Collaboration with universities, startups, and research labs accelerates learning and reduces experimentation risk.
Now, financial oversight. Our global operations involve diverse currencies, tax regimes, and regulatory frameworks. How do we ensure consistent financial discipline?
Standardized financial KPIs, consolidated reporting, and routine audits are crucial. Transparency and timeliness of reporting allow leadership to intervene before variances become critical.
Scenario modeling also helps. Running simulations for different macroeconomic conditions, currency fluctuations, or supply shocks enables proactive planning.
Absolutely. And integrating predictive analytics into our financial models improves accuracy and decision confidence.
On ESG again, compliance reporting is necessary but insufficient. How do we make ESG outcomes measurable and tied to performance incentives?
Define specific, quantifiable ESG targets, carbon reduction percentages, supplier diversity metrics, community investment, and safety compliance rates. Link a portion of leadership and operational bonuses to these outcomes.
And reporting must be transparent. Internal dashboards and external disclosures should reflect progress accurately. This builds trust with stakeholders and investors.
Speaking of customer experience, AI adoption for personalization is growing, but human touch remains vital. How do we balance automation with empathy?
We segment customer interactions. Routine queries can be automated. Complex, high-impact, or emotionally sensitive interactions require human engagement.
Additionally, AI can provide decision support to human agents, real-time recommendations, predictive next best actions, and sentiment analysis.
Training customer-facing employees to interpret AI insights effectively ensures they act with context, enhancing both efficiency and experience.
Data privacy must be embedded too. Personalized experiences require trust, which depends on secure handling of customer information.
On global growth strategy, we previously discussed market prioritization. Should we accelerate entry into emerging economies now or adopt a phased approach?
A phased approach is prudent. Pilot high-potential markets first, validate models, refine go-to-market strategies, then scale systematically.
But we should maintain visibility on all markets.
Real-time dashboards on market performance, customer adoption, and competitive intelligence allow agile decision-making.
Speaking of scaling, AI integration into business processes must be continuous. Predictive analytics, generative AI, and automated reporting can unlock efficiency if aligned with strategic objectives.
And adoption should be coupled with capability development. Employees need to understand how to interpret AI outputs and make decisions accordingly.
Agreed. Leadership must also champion AI usage. Without executive buy-in, adoption is uneven and inconsistent.
Regarding risk management, geopolitical volatility, cyber threats, and operational disruptions remain key concerns. How do we institutionalize resilience?
Multi-layered risk frameworks are required. Scenario planning, predictive modeling, business continuity protocols, and regular stress tests build organizational resilience.
Supply chain diversification is central. Over-reliance on single suppliers or geographies increases vulnerability.
Cybersecurity must be proactive. AI-driven threat detection, regular audits, employee training, and incident response protocols create a secure environment.
Talent risk is another dimension. High-potential employees may leave or skill gaps may emerge in critical areas. Continuous learning and retention strategies mitigate this.
Let's consolidate transformation initiatives. We have digital adoption, supply chain optimization, talent development, innovation governance, ESG integration, customer experience enhancement, market expansion, financial discipline, and risk resilience.
Each initiative requires a detailed roadmap, milestones, responsible owners, budgets, timelines, KPIs, and escalation protocols.
And cross-functional coordination. Many initiatives intersect. Alignment is critical to avoid duplication or conflict.
Communication is key too. Clear articulation of objectives, expected behaviors, and success criteria ensures alignment across geographies and functions.
Leadership forums should be regular. Quarterly strategy reviews, monthly operational reviews, and weekly check-ins for critical initiatives.
And we need a feedback mechanism. Employees and managers should have channels to report challenges, insights, and suggestions to continuously refine the plan.
Metrics should be both leading and lagging. Leading indicators, adoption rates, training completion, project milestones predict success, while lagging indicators, financial results, market share, customer satisfaction, validate outcomes.
Let's address innovation again. Incremental versus disruptive innovation must be managed as a portfolio. Resource allocation should be dynamic based on validation, feasibility, and strategic importance.
Rapid prototyping and iterative testing reduce risk. Small-scale pilots allow learning and scalability before full-scale investment.
We should create innovation hubs in key regions. These hubs serve as centers of excellence for AI, advanced analytics, and customer experience experimentation.
Collaboration with external partners, startups, academia, and technology providers enhances capabilities and accelerates learning.
Returning to talent, succession planning and skill development are central. High-potential employees should have visibility on career pathways and be included in cross-functional strategic projects.
Mentorship and sponsorship programs reinforce development. Leaders must actively guide successors, provide exposure, and challenge them with complex assignments.
On financial oversight, portfolio rationalization and resource allocation must align with strategic priorities. Capital, talent, and technology should flow toward initiatives that maximize long-term impact.
Performance dashboards, scenario modeling, and ROI tracking ensure disciplined execution and adaptive strategy adjustments.
ESG initiatives, customer experience, and operational resilience are not just compliance or marketing goals, they are core to sustaining competitive advantage.
Indeed, they must
As we scale digital initiatives, integration across legacy systems and cloud platforms remains a challenge. How do we ensure seamless interoperability?
Standardization is key. Defining APIs, data formats, and protocols up front reduces friction. We also need a governance layer to monitor integrations continuously.
And robust change management. Teams must be trained to understand dependencies and the impact of modifications in one system on others.
Exactly. On AI adoption, one issue is decision accountability. How do we ensure human leaders remain responsible even when AI supports decision-making?
Clear ownership of decisions. AI provides insights, but humans interpret, validate, and act. Documentation of AI recommendations and rationale strengthens accountability.
Regarding performance metrics, should we introduce AI-specific KPIs or integrate AI outcomes into existing operational KPIs?
Both. Operational KPIs remain, but we add AI adoption metrics, accuracy of predictions, usage frequency, decision latency, and impact on outcomes.
Talent readiness is another concern. Employees need skills in AI interpretation, data literacy, and ethical considerations. How do we upskill effectively?
Multi-layered learning, e-learning for fundamentals, workshops for applied, and mentorship programs for ongoing support. Simulations help employees see real impact.
On cross-functional collaboration, AI often breaks traditional silos. How do we foster coordination between departments?
Incentive alignment, reward collaboration, shared outcomes, and joint problem solving. Leadership reinforcement is crucial to signal that collaboration is non-negotiable.
For global operations, localization of AI solutions is important. Models trained in one region may not generalize globally.
Correct. Data diversity and local validation are essential. We must adapt algorithms to account for regional market behavior, language, and culture.
Shifting to innovation governance, how do we balance exploratory AI initiatives with core business efficiency?
Portfolio management. Categorize projects as core, adjacent, or transformative. Allocate resources proportionally, monitor progress, and allow rapid pivoting if hypotheses fail.
And maintain a culture that tolerates intelligent risk-taking. Teams must feel safe to experiment and learn from failures.
On customer engagement, predictive AI enables hyper-personalization, but over-reliance may feel intrusive. How do we maintain trust?
Transparency. Customers should understand what data is used and why. Consent mechanisms and clear privacy policies are vital. Balance efficiency with empathy.
Supply chain digitization continues to be a focus. Predictive analytics can prevent bottlenecks, but real-time visibility is critical.
IoT sensors, RFID tracking, and AI-driven alerts enable proactive interventions. Coupled with scenario planning, we can mitigate delays and cost overruns.
Talent deployment is essential. Skilled professionals must interpret AI-driven recommendations for procurement, logistics, and inventory management.
Finance remains complex with AI-generated forecasting. How do we ensure models reflect market realities?
Continuous monitoring and recalibration. Human judgment must validate model assumptions. Stress testing under multiple economic scenarios ensures robustness.
ESG remains a strategic imperative. AI can track sustainability metrics, But how do we link outcomes to leadership performance?
Integrate ESG metrics into executive KPIs. Track carbon reductions, supplier compliance, and diversity targets. Link bonuses to measurable improvements.
On organizational learning, AI can accelerate decision-making by surfacing insights faster. How do we prevent bias in interpretation?
Diverse decision-making teams, algorithm audits, and scenario testing reduce bias. Encouraging critical thinking alongside AI insights is essential.
Digital transformation is continuous. How do we sustain momentum across regions with varying maturity levels?
Phased adoption, centralized support, and regional champions. Measure adoption and impact, and adjust strategies based on local feedback.
On innovation culture, AI tools enable rapid prototyping. How do we evaluate ideas systematically?
Define clear criteria: market potential, strategic alignment, technical feasibility, and scalability. Use stage gate reviews to monitor progress.
Talent retention is another dimension. High-performing employees expect exposure to strategic initiatives. AI projects must include opportunities for growth.
Rotational assignments, mentorship, and involvement in high-impact initiatives help retain top talent.
Let's address cybersecurity. AI enables detection of anomalies and proactive response. But are we prepared for AI-driven attacks?
Multi-layered defense, real-time monitoring, AI-assisted threat detection, employee training, and regular audits. Simulation exercises improve readiness.
For customer experience, AI can predict churn and optimize engagement, but how do we act on these predictions without alienating customers?
Personalized, non-intrusive interventions. Offer solutions or recommendations that add value. Human oversight ensures empathy is preserved.
On leadership development, future-ready executives must be fluent in digital, AI, and data-driven decision-making. How do we structure learning paths?
Executive boot camps, peer learning, and hands-on AI projects. Leadership KPIs should include digital fluency, AI adoption, and cross-functional collaboration.
Global expansion strategy must be agile. AI-driven market intelligence helps, but human judgment remains critical for entry decisions.
Combine predictive models with local insights. Pilot programs provide validation before scaling. Pause. Continuous feedback loops are vital for adaptive strategy.
On innovation, AI-powered simulations accelerate R&D. How do we integrate insights into operational workflows?
Embed AI outputs into decision-making dashboards. Tie recommendations to business processes and monitor outcomes for continuous improvement.
Talent upskilling should be ongoing. AI models evolve. Employees must evolve with them.
Subscription learning, internal AI academies, and project-based learning ensure skills stay current. Pause. Retention incentives linked to skill acquisition reinforce adoption.
For finance, AI-driven scenario planning enables proactive risk mitigation. How do we ensure executive trust in models?
Transparency, explainability, and consistent results. Human validation and periodic recalibration maintain confidence.
Supply chain resilience requires predictive insights and contingency planning. AI identifies risks, but teams must act decisively.
Decentralized decision authority, clear escalation paths,
and scenario-based simulations strengthen operational resilience. Pause.
On customer engagement, hyper-personalization should not compromise brand consistency. How do we maintain alignment?
Standardized brand guidelines, automated compliance checks, and AI moderation tools ensure recommendations align with brand voice.
ESG goals must be measurable and auditable. AI can provide insights, but ownership must reside with accountable leaders.
Agreed. Incorporate ESG dashboards into executive reporting and link performance incentives to measurable improvements. Pause.
Cross-functional collaboration ensures AI-driven insights translate to action. Incentives, transparency,